So it's Thursday. Today's gonna get messy. Please pay no mind to the chaos behind me. That will be corrected as the weeks go on. We're shuffling some things around in here. But in the meantime, I just want to know if I can crochet with clay. Well, while it's messed there, I figured why not mess this up as well. So what I have here is a single packet, 500 grams of some air dry clay that has frankly terrible reviews online. But I'm going to try it anyway. I believe this one here is paper-based clay. And I don't know if that makes much of a difference, but I guess we'll find out. Just a general disclaimer here. I have never really messed around much with clay, a little bit maybe in high school. So I'm going to be approaching this with the raw enthusiasm of someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Now, I understand that's going to frustrate some people, but it's going to be a lot more fun for me. Gotta pull the hair back. I had a clip at some point. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so because I don't really do this, I don't necessarily have the tools, but I've tried my best to like approximate what I'll need. So I have the clay itself. I've got a mat to work on as best as we can. I've got a bowl of water because I remember that clay is wet, right? Clay is wet. I'm wearing old clothes. I'm sitting on top of a plastic mat. I also have like plastic bags and a towel nearby for when I need them. But I think I've procrastinated long enough, and I think the next thing to do is open the clay. I guess we just open this and hope it hasn't dried out. It's been sitting on the shelf for a little bit. How do we open it? Oh, there we go. And it's plastic wrapped for my convenience. That's also very helpful. I think we're still squishy, which is a good thing. Okay, now what? Scissors. And I'm going to put the rest of it into a Ziploc bag to lock in the moisture. So I understand that what I'm supposed to do now is like work the clay until it's soft. Oh, it's squishy. So my first plan, I think, is going to just be to try and like roll it out and use a hook to see if we can crochet it just straight, because I feel like that's the truest example of whether or not this is going to work. Okay. Feels nice though, it does. This is something that never happens with crochet, you know, because when you take something that's this opposite, that can be really cool. Okay, we're getting squishier now. Oh! I keep trying to like knead it like I would like a bread dough, and it's not interested in that. Maybe I should have done this in two. Oh, I'm getting clay everywhere. Oh, I hope that comes off. It's air dry clay. It'll just flake off later. It'll be fine. I feel like we are reaching consistency. It's starting to be like warm and stretchy. So, yay. So that means that it might be almost time to start like rolling it out. How long before I quit and stop using this mat? Oh, okay. So it's already breaking, so I don't know if that's even going to work. I don't think it's going to be structural enough. My first experiment was going to be just to try crocheting with it on its own. But I can see now that that was a fool's errand. Because, yeah, there's just no way that this can hold a knot on its own. Let alone a stitch. So, alright. So that's a quick dismissal of that. That doesn't mean I'm done. It just means I have to come up with a different plan. A different plan that might involve another bowl. Hold on. Okay, I have a plan B. So, plan B, I have gone and I have fetched a little bit of cotton, and I've fetched another bowl, and I think what I'm going to try and do is find a way to coat the cotton in clay. We've got a plan. How much of a mess am I going to make? A little? A lot? Who knows? Never mind, I'm nailing this. Breaking the clay down in the water. Oh no! Oh, it's fine. Just mix it up until it makes squishy, squishy soup. Now, I suppose the other thing about air dry clay that I do know is that it's wet, right? And it takes a long time to dry, and you want it to take a long time to dry, because if it dries too fast, it'll crack. And so I think I'm going to soak the cotton first. I feel like that's maybe a solution here. Oh, do I just pick up the yarn and dunk it? Whoop. Wet in the water. Soak that all up. Oh, and I absolutely cannot lose the end. I think I'll clay it a little bit at a time. If I could ever untangle this and find the end again. What's the first thing I said? Oh, I absolutely cannot lose the end. And then what's the first thing I did? I lost the end. Hook. All right, I have a lot of 4.25 millimeters, so do not blame me for sacrificing one to the clay. I'm sure this will wash off anyway. It's just air dry. And now we try and work. Yeah, I'm going for the magic ring. It's the one ring to rule them all, okay? Any further are you? Or you're going to squirt everywhere when I try. Oh, there we go. I did it. Okay. We have accomplished a magic ring. I believe in you. Sometimes it just needs gentle words of encouragement, you know? It's not helping that the hook itself is becoming very slippery. The good news is that there's so much on my hands, it's keeping everything nice and wet. Okay, it's actually getting a little easier. And it's meant to take 24 to 48 hours to dry, so I assume I have time to work with it a little bit. And I think cotton was a better idea than acrylic. I don't know, that's just one of those gut feelings. Let me know in the comments, would you have approached this with acrylic or with a natural fibre? This totally works. I don't know if it's going to be worth it, but we'll find out. And how would we have known? How would we have known if we hadn't tried? It is legitimately all over me. Hey, look! We did it! That is a... Unfocus off my face, please. Please. There we go. Don't look, Albert. I know this is probably not the way this is supposed to be approached. I can't resist the urge to try. And wouldn't it be cool if it worked?
How's it going?
It's messy. It keeps making squelchy noises.
Put it this way, it's better than working with black yarn.
Yeah, I don't mind working with black
Just
yarn.
waiting for your phone to drop into the puddle.
Oh, it's fine. It won't do that. It wouldn't betray me like that. I'm sorry, honey. I wasn't thinking. I thought I thought this through and I hadn't. Could you possibly bring the alfoil in for me? Thank you.
You're allowed to ask me for what.
Do you have your crafting buddy? Always bring a crafting buddy. Watch. It's all tangled up in a knot. It's so messy. Funnily enough, I think the cotton is easier to work with lubricated. I don't think that squirted on anything important. And it does leave me with just kind of a thinner layer so you can see the stitches better. And I don't know if I'm going to do it that way or if I'm going to just get it good and soaked. Because I think it could be cool to end up with at least a little cup that I could store my hooks in. That'd be fun if it works. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but it does appear to be working. I do think I'm going to end up with a thing. So yeah, I'm just going to finish this one off first. There's clay everywhere. It's all over my seat and the table and me. And I feel like I need to dry it in shape. And I kind of want to squeeze the clay out of it, but I also don't want to squeeze too much out of it because I do want it to be clay coated. Not so much that it's obscuring what the stitches look like. So this is what we look like. It doesn't look like much here because I think what we need to do is grab some alfoil and build a little base for it. So we'll just drape you there. I'm very tempted to put one of my glass weights in the base of it just to make sure that it has a nice heavy bottom and doesn't tip over when I put things in it. So I think we're just gonna literally just position that inside, slough a little bit more of this off, fill it with foil until it's sitting nicely. Now has one of my hairs forever trapped in it. what crochet doesn't, okay? We put a little bit of ourselves in all of our work. Don't know how I thought this was going to stay upright. It's working. Something's happening. And I kind of just need to like prop that up somewhere.
You want a board with a nail sticking out of it.
Oh, that works. Yeah, this lid. Okay, I don't know if that's going to go through. Okay, that works. It's clearly a pen holder. Well, it will be. We'll just put it to one side and let it dry. Plastic bag is supposed to help it like dry slower, which is supposed to help a little bit. So that's experiment number 1. I do have another approach I want to try that I think might be slightly more successful. So I'm going to get a little bit cleaned up and we'll give that one a go. All right, I have cleaned up a little bit. Look, clean. I have left my bowl of goo, my slightly wetter ball of goo, and my slightly wetter ball of goo, which used to be a clean bowl of water, set up because I am going to need them for my next experiment. Okay, so what I learned from that first one is being messy is really fun, which I think we all already knew. But second of all is I don't actually think that it being clayified during that process was really necessary. I think we're going to be able to clayify it afterwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what's remaining here of my it's damp yarn, and I'm going to crochet something. And because it's not already covered in clay, I'm going to be able to be a little bit more specific with it. I'm just going to make a small, let's go for a small creature. I'm thinking maybe a tiny owl. Alright, so I've made the base of a little ball piece, and I gotta say, alright, just as an interesting note here, next time I try to crochet with like fluffy yarn, I'm just gonna try wetting it first. I think the wet fluff would be easier to crochet with, but in any case, this is as large as I'm going with this base piece, and just because of what I'm gonna do to it, the atrocities that I'm going to commit, I think I'm going to stuff it with alfoil instead of polyester. It just feels right to me, so I'm just gonna go get some more alfoil. There we go. See, I wish it was round. How do I get it round? That's a slightly more uniform shape. Okay, good. Now I'm just gonna close off the bottom of this, and then comes the dipping. Never to be seen again. All right, so that is what we currently look like. We're ready for dipping. And I've also created another couple of tiny pieces that I would like to coat at the same time. All ready to go. Now, for anybody part of my generation who has heard me call this dip and is having a flashback to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it's okay. This is going to be way closer to like a nice warm bubble bath than that one particular scene that traumatized an entire generation. All right, there we go. Open the bag and we're going to dip them, get them all good and wet and goopy, and then they're going in the bag. That's the plan. So I think we'll do you first. Get you all nice and coated. Give you a little shoulder rub. It's like a little chicken nugget. The bag's just gonna have to touch it. All right, and then we've got this little circle. Squeeze a little bit out again so we can still see the stitches. It's not really like dunking something in your cuppa, it's a lot slimier. And then these two tiny little bobbits. I probably could have just crafted out of clay. And okay, pop that off to one side to dry. There's not a lot of clay left here. Tiny little beak. All right, I think that's as good as it's gonna get. So we'll just scrape that off into the bag and hope for the best. So that is our second attempt to incorporate crochet and clay, but I actually have a third thing that I would like to make with the clay just while it's out and while everything's already messy. And that is just a nice little hook stand for one of my hooks. A lot of you may know that I recently retired one of my hooks because it had been here since the start of the channel for 4 years and it was definitely wearing out. And I just really like to make a nice little like stand for it so we can like have a comfy retirement. That is satisfying. So basically I'm just gonna whip up the pieces of that so they can dry overnight as well. Never getting sick of these noises. So I made my little hook holder, and then after that I had some clay left over and I got a little carried away, and so I might have to introduce you all to Gilbert. I hope he survives the drying process. So with all of those pieces made, I left them to dry on my windowsill where they would get a lot of sunshine and a little bit of airflow. Thought that would help them dry nice and evenly. Update 2 days later. This one here is basically dry at this point. I think I can start working with that one. Gilbert has survived so far with only some minor cracking around one of his eyebrows. So we're very excited about that. He's such a good little lad. Thank you all for crossing your fingers for him. The stand has dried with only minor cracking around the base. The little pieces for this one here have dried completely, but the ball is refusing. That yarn must have absorbed a lot of moisture. So I've got it in a literal sunbeam at the moment, and we're just giving it as long as possible to dry completely. So hopefully that finishes soon. Okay, so it is a couple of days later, and most of it's dried. There is one piece that's not really being super cooperative, but we'll get to that in a minute. Of the dry pieces, we have our lovely pen holder. We have the little hook stand. Gilbert is hanging in there. He is such a good little guy. Thank you to all my patrons for the well wishes. And the parts that we made for our little bird dried. So there's the eyes, and then I've got the little wings here, a potential tiny little beak. That all dried. What didn't dry is that body piece. So this is the piece that we crocheted and then dipped into the wet clay. And it is holding onto water like nobody's business. And we've waited for 3 full days. I will be whipping up the hairdryer and basically just pointing it directly at that. But in the meantime, I reckon we can start painting some of these pieces. So the first thing I actually have to do is try and get this thing off the base that's inside it. And I'm not sure, so I can take it off its spike that we were using as a stand, but then I think it's pretty glued on. So that's why I've got you guys turned on as well, because like I thought this might be funny to kind of watch. So the foil can get absolutely destroyed, that's fine. We might have to destroy it just to get it out of there. Yeah, I'm gonna just try and remove this support. This calls for a crochet hook. My tool of choice in every situation. Leave your suggestions in the comments as to how you would tackle this. I'm just trying to get it unstuck. You know what I need? I need a cockatoo. He would have this out and ripped up and all across my desk in seconds. I'm gonna go get some pliers, hold on. Let's apply a little logic to this situation. Are any of you into those those videos where they show you them cleaning out the earwax? Hopefully we'll get a good satisfying pull from this. Oh, that was it. That was the final pull. Look, hollow all the way down inside and a little bit rockety, but the whole point is that it can just hold some hooks, right? And it can absolutely hold some hooks. All right, so we are going to paint some of these little pieces, and I've just got some basic acrylics here. You'll recognize them from previous videos. They're just some fun pastel colors. Yeah, I'm just gonna avoid the fleshy pinks for reasons. Oh, and for anybody worried about the pink yarn, it's dry, perfectly fine. It's going back into the rotation. What color do we want to do? Well, for this, let's go with like blue and purple, shall we? Oh, they've given me 2 purples. Pastel purple and pastel gray. Okay guys, I dare you. Guess which one's gray and which one's purple. Maybe the paint itself is more gray. I know that that's a thing that happens. Bloop. That one's already open. Bloop. I'm going to try and paint this one here. It's so awful, but something about it I love. It just appeals to me. So let's do like Purple at the top and blue at the bottom, yeah? Okay, so I've painted a number of the pieces so far. We've done the little stand and the little pen holder, both of which look like a preschooler could have comfortably accomplished this on their first day holding a paintbrush, but I find a certain kind of charm in that aesthetic, and so I'm fine with it. Now, as I was painting Gilbert, his little foot started to break off, which freaked me out, and so I've popped him down. I'm letting the paint dry. I know that acrylic paint isn't going to hold that foot on, so we're probably going to lose the foot, but for now the foot is on, and so we're just going to not touch him for a little bit. And I got carried away with the colours, but honestly, it's just been fun. Now, in the meantime, I had the hairdryer going off screen, and I think it has managed to dry this. It's no longer coming off on my hands anyway. Might still be a little bit wet. But we're getting closer with this, which means that I'm comfortable starting the painting process. Now, I assume that you paint and then glue the pieces together, right? Like you wouldn't glue and then paint them, or would you? Actually, that kind of feels like you might. Let's go get some glue. We can fix little Gilbert's foot at the same time, maybe. So it's a very tiny foot. I don't know how that's going to work. All right, yeah, let's go get some glue. Just gonna try gluing these pieces together into a little bird, I guess. We're branching out today. Okay, so these are our eye pieces. So I guess I'll just like dip, dip. It's a lot of glue. Let's wipe some of that off. And what side do you reckon the front is? Dip, dip, stick. Then we hold. And the same thing for the other eye. So one really nice thing about this particular piece is the fact that like, these are the pieces that we made and then dipped into clay. And it's really cool that you can still kind of see the stitch texture through the whole way around. I actually really like that. Whereas on the strand that we soaked in clay and then tried to stitch all in one piece, it was a little bit less orderly than that, because that's we didn't get quite as like an even finish on that one there. So if you're going to try this for yourself, I would suggest yeah, crocheting and then coating in clay. That seems to be the way that it works best. Yeah, there we are. We'll glue this one together, because then even if I can't paint it today, you guys will still get to see what it was going to look like. Guys, I don't think I'm very good at this. I should have sat it flat and then worked out where to put the face or the front of him. I'll just stick him to a rock. That'll work. People do that all the time. Should have painted it first? Yeah. Quiet you with all your sense making. So now I guess I just sit here and wait for that to set a little bit. You hanging in there, Gilbert? Maximum strength is attained in 12 hours. All right, that's already kind of loosely holding itself. So I just want to very gently brush some glue on the underside of his foot just to help it hold itself on. Lay him down gently, having a little nap. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. Oh, that'll work. Okay, so I guess I just go away for a bit and let this round of everything dry. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours and I think the glue has dried enough. So I am just going to really quickly just apply a little bit of paint to this bird. And I'm gonna go with like less is more, I think. Now, having made one using clay, I decided that we needed to do a comparison, so I did whip one up out of just yarn, and I'll let you guys be the deciders. Which one do you like better? One is nice and solid, but we can hit the other one with a hammer. And he just bounces right back. So there are the 3 finished things that we've made. And I don't know what you guys reckon. Did I pick the wrong kind of clay? What would you guys have done differently? Leave me your best piece of advice in the comments and I will read them all and see if we need to come back and attempt this again. And there are my finished attempts to crochet with clay. Gluing our bird to a base piece was definitely the right move there, but Gilbert is just stealing the show left, right and center. Now, for anyone who wants to tell me that Gilbert was not a crochet creation, the only tool I used to make him was a crochet hook. So I think that tells us everything we need to know. Just to be very clear here, I am aware that the pen holder looks terrible. I just also love it for some reason. It's my terrible pen holder. So mind your manners, okay? But other than that, let me know in the comments which one was your favorite piece. Are you going to try this for yourselves? I'd really like to know. But yeah, everyone say, hi Gilbert, and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye. We're messy behind, but it kind of just sort of is what it is. Hello, it's Thursday. Because I understand that, like, don't you fall now. A little bit of soundproofing. That's the knife's clay now, apparently. So let's just do a bunch of that. How am I going to turn you off? I might just be stuck here making a very long clip here. It's going to take me 11 years to clean up after this, I can tell already. I hope the mic is picking up these noises. 9. Now I want to turn you off. Luckily I have a bag here somewhere. I thought I had a bag here. I do not have a bag here. I do not want to touch you with clay hands. I'm going to have to wait until Mr. Bones comes back inside to turn my camera off for me. Oh, fantastic. Honey, come and save me. But if you could turn the camera off, that'd be great.
Would you like a paper towel?
Well, no, because I'm just going to get messy again. Okay, so there's a big red button.
Press that?
Yeah. Excellent. Oh. Hope that comes off. All right. Cleaned up a little bit. Oh no, we're still plugged in.
Oh no, this is so funny. Everything's falling apart.
Do or do not, there is no try. My nail just broke, but I won't know until the clay dries. Doing our best. My chair is making noises on the plastic mat underneath us. Ah! Okay. Ooh, nearly knocked a very big container of water off the desk. I need to calm down. I'm just gonna remake a mess, apparently. Didn't think this through. Master of not thinking things through. Where am I putting this? Wet. What have I made? It's a thing. It's a very nice thing. We're gonna paint it. It's a perfectly normal looking thing. It's a little phallic. It's still in there somewhere. When I squeeze it out, like it all just comes out. Which makes it abundantly obvious to me at this point anyway, that I could have just crocheted this and dipped it.
But this is more fun.
It is so much more fun.